Hello, hello, hello. Hope you're having a good day today. Figured I do another live stream. Do another Nerd and Out Pod anime stream again. This time on a manga anime that I've seen yesterday called Magi. Overall, I think I enjoyed it. It was a very fun and exciting anime. Seen it for the first time. I've heard of it. I've heard of it, that and its spin-off show, The Adventures of Sinbad. But I never actually seen Magi until last night. So I went on, checked on Netflix, and go, there you go. I got Magi, so let me give it a little watch. And I stayed up. I binged the entire thing. I saw season 1 and 2. I'm like, yep. It was a very well done anime. Too bad, from what I heard, the anime studio wasn't able to make. They weren't able to adapt the rest of the manga, so that's a shame. But at least that gives me some content to read. Now that I've watched the anime, I can go back and see the original material and see how it differs and what stuff I might have liked better in the manga. So here we go. There's the first trailer for the first part, The Labyrinth of Magic.
Family poets.
Hey, answer me! Who am I anyway?
My king, O venerable one, your wish is my command. What is it you wish for?
Well, I wish for...
I'm not gonna let you get away with buying someone's life with that rotten wine of yours!
I am a Phonolis, conquerors of the Dark Continent and the most powerful warrior tribe of all.
I am the man who captured 7 dungeons and conquered 7 seas. Sinbad.
Never mind that. Just get some clothes on.
Sinbad. I can see why people enjoy this character. Now that I know that he was so popular, he had his own spin-off show. Now I have to give that a watch too. I think my favorite characters from Magi would probably be Aladdin. It would have to be Aladdin and Olabagra? Is it Olabagra?
On, Sin.
Sinbad would be third.
I'm Aladdin. I'm a traveler.
Rumor has it there's still a genuine...
There we go. Anti-Baba. Okay, that's how you call it.
Magi wandering around somewhere.
I'm gonna fight with you.
The master of 7 jinns. I'll vanquish that fog troop or whatever they call themselves.
I've got so much power to spare, I don't even know what to do with it. Dungeons are strange and mysterious ruins that started appearing.
Overall, I think this was a very well done anime. From what I saw, I did enjoy the political structure. Now they said, all right, you got the royal people on the top, you got the lower class, and you have all the slaves at the bottom. Let's tackle that subject there, which is something that hasn't really been, I suppose it's been tackled from other anime, but Magi gives it a different perspective. Like, I did enjoy Anti-Baba's past of him being he was basically a royal bastard. His dad was the king and his mom was a prostitute. So we had an interesting backstory there. So him choosing not to be the next king and turning the kingdom into a republic was a interesting choice. Because from what the anime showed, Sinbad was going to use him to be the next king and then go from there. and have him join Sinbad's alliance in order to counteract the Co-Empire's invasion plan. But that went nowhere because Anibaga's new policy of putting it into a republic.
Appearing all over the world, whoever can manage to capture one can claim enormous wealth and power. Gold and silver treasures and magical items.
Magical.
I just love boobs, you know? How come you have big boobs like this when you're a man?
Oh, Aladdin, he was my favorite. He's the main protagonist, or one of the main protagonists in the show. I enjoyed his fan service mode. He didn't hesitate. Like, oh, that's a fine pair. Scoop, let me go swimming. That's an archetype shared in a bunch of anime. You got Roshi. Roshi being the main, one of the original guys, the OGs, and you got everybody else. Jiraiya, Meliodas, some Seven Deadly Sins, and I guess Aladdin is that trope in this context. But I think I did enjoy Aladdin. Aladdin's character was fun. I think my favorite part was probably him going to the magic school. I'm like, all right, you want to go to the magic school? How are they gonna bypass? How are you gonna bypass this stuff? Because he's a Magi, and they have more mana or magic than anybody else. So how is he gonna sneak in? And that was an interesting way to do it. I enjoyed that little mini arc there, and how even without being a place of magic, they still had that social structure. You have the magicians on the top, and you have non-magic users on the bottom, and then in that same similar food chain. But I did enjoy. So I guess he is, because from the show, they said, all right, there's only three Magi in existence, or three Magi at a time, and Aladdin is the anomaly. So from the people in the show, he is probably, I'm going off of what I've seen on the show, that he's probably the reincarnation. He's probably the reincarnation of Solomon, of King Solomon in the anime. Given one, he has Solomon's wisdom, and getting a bunch of flashback dreams about the other world. But I'll have to look into that. Maybe the manga has a different origin story for him, because he said he had parents. Like, you saw a brief moment when he went to the pirate island and the lady put him under a spell. We saw a lady. He said, oh, the lady there became the illusion of his mother. But I'll have to read the manga to see what they have to say about that.
Oh, you know what a Magi is?
Yes, of course I do.
Then tell me, what is a Magi? That's just what I might be. I've been trying for a long time to find out who I am.
Aladdin, we're out of here.
Is that all that you wish for?
There really is just one wish. I want you to be my friend.
Okay, so that's the first season. Now, I think my favorite part was probably them going back to Auntie Baba's kingdom and figuring out all that nonsense, political strife. That was entertaining to watch when you figure, okay, and learning more about Angerburger's past. Because I assumed he was the good guy until boom, He was, but it's more in line with his friend and his circumstances. Like we saw, if things happen differently, like they got a whole different lifestyle. Like his friend Kasim would have still been in the slums, but he would have still had that bond of Anibama because he would have been the next king. They would have still been on friendly terms with each other. And the nation probably would have had a different viewpoint. So the monarchy would have still probably been there, but it would be a much better circumstances of how it happened in canon. And this one here is season 2. All right. And then we had the introduction of Sinbad. It was funny. Learn that he is a singularity. Like nobody else in this world is able to possess seven divine weapons. Like he's the only one in the show to have them. And he's a human. So that's interesting to know about. But the Ko Empire, because the Ko Empire, they were an interesting faction to learn about. If the Crown Prince, one of the princes to get more attached with. I enjoyed his stuff. He's more like he reminded me of Sasuke. I'm like, oh, it's the Sasuke guy of the show. Want to start a civil war to get so I am curious to see where it goes after that. Because if I was to give it a ranking, season 1, I would probably give it I'll give it a 6 out of 10 in terms of my enjoyment for it. In terms of my enjoyment and how I found the characters and cast, I would give it a 6 out of 10. And now let me do one for season 2. The Kingdom of Magic.
Solomon, King of Kings. The world stands poised on the brink of unity. The greatest feat ever accomplished by mankind. The cosmos trembles at your will.
And yet, the magicians defied me mightily, unto the last bitter breath.
Again with that dream about the old days, when magicians and normal people hated each other so much. If it comes to that again, the world will end.
No, I did enjoy that part there because Aladdin, he knew about the underworld, but he kept that a secret. He didn't want that to happen again. That's why I assumed, right, he's probably the reincarnation of Solomon, because why is he the only one getting these dreams and has a power called Solomon's wisdom?
One adventure has come to an end. This moment right now is the beginning of a brand new journey. So then, let's raise our glasses to the adventure that is about to begin anew. Cheers!
Well, there's a big magic school in Magnoshitat. I've decided I want to go there for a while and study.
I'll be heading off to Lamano, Rem's capital city.
I'm going to Batarg, in the south of Rem. I just know it in my heart. Something's going to guide us all, and we'll be sure to meet again. Oh, magic! This town is bursting with magic!
Wow.
Yeah. One, because this is one of my favorite arcs from season 2 because they kept saying about there's a magic school. Did they mention it in season 1? They might have. But when they introduced magic school, I'm like, all right, let's learn more about how the magic system works in the universe. And I did enjoy that part. I might even take some inspiration from it for my own magic stuff that I'm trying to work on. Given the magic system is fun to write about, it's just getting the right parts in to make it believable for the world building.
Wow, congratulations.
Okay, when I saw this guy, I said, oh, I didn't know. I figured, all right, he's the same skin color and he's the same overall design as the guy, as one of Sinbad's generals who trained Ali Bala in swordplay. So, okay, he's probably the same. They're probably from the same region. I don't know if they're the same. If they're part of the same family, but they probably are the same region. So that was one thing. Like, oh, that's interesting.
Who'd have guessed you'd be the top of the class?
Aladdin. Because it amuses me, I'm going to...
This guy. Now, when I saw that episode, it's all right. He's probably like a high-class guy from a high family. And then you find out his origin story. I'm like, oh, that's what you are. Because in the fight, I'm like, okay, they both have the same magic suppressing stones in their arms. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. He can't be a Magi. But now I just guess he kind of is a Magi because he's the clone. Same for the girl same for the other Magi from the Liam Empire. Both her and him, they're both clones of the original Magi. But he is more like an artificial. I guess she was made first, and then she was made second. So he's more like an artificial being. He didn't really have a soul, really. Just Magi reserves and a personality. So that was an interesting topic to discuss. Like, I'm not flesh and blood like everybody else. I'm a clone. I'm an artificial being made from someone else's magic and personality. Like, am I allowed to exist? Like, should I exist? Like, those type of topics, hard topics, was interesting to them to discuss because that is something that is interesting to talk about in the show. Because you had the slavery concept, like the high nobles using their status to bully the lower class and the slavery. The co-empire and everywhere else does slavery. Like, is that a good thing? No, I wouldn't do it. But if it means getting money for that nation, then I guess they didn't have a choice.
To honor you with friendship. Oh my, an unusual custom.
The Emperor of the Co-Empire took his last breath. The entire world will soon be racked by a great war.
The mysterious mass production of magic tools reminds me of our position not so long ago.
Rumor has it, Matal Mogamet is producing dark metal vessels.
You'd be about my grandson's age, that is.
Okay, he was an interesting villain. Because one, some of the points that he had were true. But his bias the non-magic users is what blinded him. Because one, in the past, yes, he did some good stuff. Then he saw the corruption of the high nobles and how they treated magicians. And all right, fuck it, I'm good and rogue. Let's go, boys. And they made, I'm going to try and pronounce it. They made their own magic school, but it is not. It wasn't even anything different from the usual kingdoms and nations in the other parts of the world in this universe, because he basically did the same thing. Like, yes, he's not a king, but he's in that kingly status. And we have the instructors underneath him, and you have the usual magic students. Then below them are probably the non-magic users, and below them in the hidden district were the non. I'm gonna say non-magic. The users of magic, those of magic who wasn't at a high quantity, and they're using them as a drain sponge that power the city. So that wasn't a good thing at all. And then you found out, okay, even children with sicknesses are being used as they were livestock, basically. Like they didn't have a choice. But I guess he saw it as the greater good. But in the end, he did have a change of heart at the end with Titus's involvement. Given without that small ray of hope in the body, they probably wouldn't have been able to beat the final boss at the end. So that was one thing.
That is, if I could.
I say in terms of antagonists, I would give him a solid 7 out of 10.
Boast of having one.
Subjugation or annihilation. Choose before that day comes.
I'll fight the abnormalities of the world.
She is all Thorman's witch.
Let your mother touch you.
Oh, yeah. Her. Now that is they have a rocky relationship, if I can call it that. Given she's more like the Itachi role, or like the Aizen, and he's more like a Sasuke in this instance, where he wants to kill her. But he needs power, because even with his divine weapon equipped, she took him out with ease, if a simple push.
You?
There can only be one ruler, not just for this country, but
Okay, now out of all the Yoke family children, I would say he's the
just
most.
for this country. But
All right. He would be the interesting one. Let me see. Can I get it on the right spot?
be one ruler, not just for this country, but
Dang it.
just for this country.
There we go. For him, he would be an interesting character because one, he wants to learn about the history of the world, but he's kind of having a blind role to it because one, they still use slaves. Like, how are you gonna even if they unified the world like they did? Sinbad and his general should probably be a threat. And even let's say they beat Sinbad and they unify the world completely. What's going to happen to all those nations and all those resources? They're still going to use slaves at the end of the day. Plus, it would be better from the son, other royal blood son, who wanted to kill his mom. he does have a point. Like, dismantle the Ko Empire in a civil war. You comes out on top and start fresh. Because even in the very beginning, that this organization group was pulling the strings in the background. So you have to cut the weed, you have to cut the root, and start fresh. Start from the ground up and try and make it better. Now, I don't know if it will succeed, but it's a start. At least you're trying something new.
But for the world.
The Rem Empire's my home. I'll protect it.
Now, for her, she also was an interesting character in the show. Given her guidance, one, this country doesn't use divine. They never use. They have divine weapons, yes, but they don't rely on them completely. Given how when they fought the Magic Kingdom, they were able to use fire bombs, which were made using magic and science, but was under the guidance of normal humans. So that was a step in the right direction. Like, yep, even non-magic users can make good technology to combat those with magic. And I did enjoy, was it this one? Yeah. I did enjoy the different types of magic used in the show. Like, you have the usual stuff like Magi magic, the stuff with the butterflies, the black butterflies, and then the Liam Empire here, they used Ki, basically like Chinese, basically like Ki is from Dragon Ball, basically, on the weapons. So it was a kind of a good roundabout way of how, given, yes, there is magic in the world, but depending on where you are, that magic has a different name. It might have a similar usage, but it has a different name to it and how it's utilized in battle. But to find out, yes, even I thought she was the original, because they only said there was only three. You only had Jafar, Chudar, Yanyan, and her. And then you need to find out she is a Magi, but she is the clone of the original Magi. So that was interesting to know about. And then she dies. Same for Titus. But Titus gets reincarnated to be the new Magi. Takes her role as the new Magi, so at least that way he has a second chance of life. Given one, he was an artificial being. So at least this way is more like his second chance at life.
Damn you. Damn you!
Alibaba, I really like this world we're living in. That's why I'm not gonna let this world end.
That was a good scene there. Like, we knew, well, I didn't really, even in the magic arc, Aladdin was able to find out more about how magic is used, what magic affinity he specializes in. Because I would assume, given he's a Magi, he would be able with time and practice. Wouldn't he be able to learn all other forms of magic? Well, I suppose not. He could only learn the ones that is the one he's like, he's two: fire and sound. So I don't know in the future in the manga maybe if he's able to utilize all other kinds of the other types of magic that was shown in the anime. Because he's a Magi, so he has near infinite supply of magic. So I don't see why he couldn't. Maybe he'll just need to learn how to do it. But even that was so funny. And they went to the scene like, yep, he's probably gonna be in the first of his class, and nope, he's like at the bottom, starting off at level 6. His fire manipulation is so low. And then you have the fan service with the army with the instructor. And that was interesting to see, like doing a workout montage. Like, all right, what's the point of this? So they figure out, no, it's actually this was help getting your body strengthened would overall help your magic reserves get stronger. And there we go, voila! He was able to go a small ember in the beginning when he started to when he started again. He did a much bigger inferno. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting concept there. And then I said, oh, wait a minute. He has the magic suppression stone in his body. Like, how strong is he going to be when, after he did the magic stuff, magic training, and they did the battle? Said, all right, I'm going to take this stone out. How strong is he going to be with that thing out? And oh, my goodness. He showed why he's a Magi. Okay. That was season 2, Kingdom of Magic. I would say it was a much more improvement on season 1. I gave season 1 a 7. For season 2, I would give it an 8. In terms of my enjoyment, because 1, I did enjoy the little journeys that they went on. And yet, I did also enjoy that even they did those small mini arcs. 1, I liked how they divided the cast. So Sinbad, Anibaga, and the girl, Margareta, I believe her name is. I might be wrong, but I liked how they separated them, so at least they're not always together, and they have their own separate goals and missions to do. But I am curious to see. It was curious to find out, like, yeah, even when they did the curse, when Anibaga and Sinbad got cursed. That's right. We have Anibaga has a way to get cured. Now, how is Sinbad going to get cured? Only to find out, oh, goodness, he's half fallen. I'm like, what the fuck? How? He seemed overpowered, like the overpowered character in the show. So at least his role, he had good scenes, but at least he wasn't overexposed in the show. Given, like, yes, he has 7 divine tools, so that makes him a powerhouse. But at least he wasn't taking the spotlight off of the main cast. I did enjoy seeing more about his generals, like the water mage girl who trained Aladdin, and the swordsman who trained Alibaba, and the other general who was also part of Margareta's tribe. That was interesting to know about. Like, all right, because from what she said, there wasn't many more of them left until 1, we see more has survived, because 1, one's part of Sinbad's generals, and there's a whole bunch as a unit in the Liam Empire, so their tribe will not die out. So that's a good sign, because they're a powerful tribe. So overall,
Something's going to guide us all, and we'll be sure
find a
to meet
good
again.
spot.
Magic! This town is bursting with magic!
Here we go. Overall, I think I enjoy the setting. I like the Middle Eastern culture and design of the clothes that the show is in, plus all the different divine weapons, basically look like power armor, and the different djinns that each of the weapons resided in. But I think overall, I did the magic part, the magic school arc was probably my favorite part of the show. Given, I guess they left it off on a cliffhanger, so there's probably going to be a Co-Empire Civil War, so that might be interesting to see. Given that the anime, given there is no more of the anime, anything left now is the Sinbad spin-off I have to look forward to, and maybe if they did any movies on Magi. But other than that, I am interested in reading the rest of the manga. At least where the anime ended is where I'll start reading. But for this anime, for those who haven't seen it, I would recommend this manga. Either you want to read the manga, that's fine, but you want to see the anime, that's also good, depending on your preference. But for me, this anime was very well made. The studio did an excellent job on the cast. The dub was well done. Even though this is a very long ago anime, it still holds up. It still holds up from other anime from back then. But overall, those are my thoughts on this anime Magi. If you liked it, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff and jazz. And until my next Nerd Out stream, have a good one.